Hello, crew. So today we're going to be talking about some tips that will help you group students during a pandemic. So we got this fabulous pandemic going on. What we would hate to see happen is everybody feel like they have to put kids into their own isolated learning experience. So these are just some things that are going to help you get going with helping students work in a group, and a few tips that I think will alleviate some fears around setting up that type of experience. So step one, as the teacher, you want to definitely be prepared to transition easily between in-person experiences and remote or online experiences as well. So part of that comes down to the group planning. If you are setting this up effectively, you're going to be in a situation where, even if we had to go remote during a month-long project where this group is working together, you've already thought through that transition and your kids are going to be able to do that. So any type of group project that you set up, you want to make sure it's a project that's going to allow you to do part of it in person, and if they had to finish that up during an online or remote experience. So an important piece of this, we want to ensure that all of our group participants share similar schedules. A lot of districts have hybrid plans. Our district is one of those where you have a group one of students and a group two of students. So it might be smart, if needed, that you ensure that all of your group members are in the same type of schedule. So we would want to double check and give kids a voice in that, and verifying that, yes, we are a group that even if we were to go remote, we could still participate together. Just a heads up, it would be super stinky if you created all these groups, you have to shift to a remote experience, and now all of a sudden your kids are on different class times or different connection times. So just something to think about. A lot of ways you can navigate that, though, especially if you're flexible within your remote learning experiences on when a group would present or share something. So we also want to make sure that for in-person that we are preparing our physical space. And this is a huge tip that will really help you no matter what, even if you're not working in groups. It's super important that we declutter our classrooms. So if we have some artifact that looks hilarious, it's been awesome, maybe it's a giant stuffed duck that we've had in our room for 10 years. This might be a year where Mr. Duck does not get to attend our class. Anything that you have that's extra and in the way, you're probably going to want to get rid of this year, simply because you're going to value that space as we try to social distance our students. Another helpful tip during grouping would be that we want to utilize some visual cues. For older kids, it might simply be that we've spread our desks a little bit and we just ask them to do that. Another tip would be, if I have a certain number of tiles that I want my kids to be sitting apart, just give them that visual cue. If I'm working with younger kids, I might even go as far as having a carpet square or a taped off section. Don't go overboard with this and stay in your box, right? We don't want to do that, but we do want to provide kids with some social or visual cues that would provide social distancing and keep your classroom safe, because that's a big part of your job this year. We also want to explore options for group meeting spaces that maybe we don't typically use. So if I'm doing a group conversation even, are there outdoor areas where that could happen? Or are there common areas where my kids can spread out a little bit and make better use of open spaces? Especially if we have nice days, there's no reason you need to feel like you have to stay cooped up in your classroom. And also encouraging you just to try to get creative with things. Think about, are there stations where you could maybe put up some barriers to keep things a little more safe? Or do you have a separate room, where a quiet space where kids could go as a group, sit spread out from one another? So think about all the areas around you. Think about what's available to you, even if it's just simply walking outside to do the conversation part of the group project. So get creative with that and find a space that's really going to let your kids connect and not feel jam-packed and stuck together. So this is really important, this project planning piece. There are a few things, and you may want to take some extra time during that planning process to help your kids think through some strategies that will keep them successful no matter what this crazy COVID brings our way. We definitely want to think about right off the bat giving kids a time to exchange contact information. So our school district, everybody has their own email address. That is one way for sure that all kids can exchange contact. If kids are comfortable with it, they can exchange phone numbers, or if they have any type of social media where they might want to connect, just give them a chance to talk about it. Like in the event that we do go remote, or in the event that we need to get in touch with each other, how can we do that most easily? I've seen different groups say, hey, we're going to have this meeting link that we keep throughout the duration of our project, and anytime we need to connect, we can just text one another and jump on our meeting link, or FaceTime if they're all on iOS. So give kids a chance to talk about what the smartest way for them to contact each other. Having an anytime, anywhere connection plan is super helpful. This could just be a shared Google document where they can drop group questions or drop group resources. Other tools, which I'll share in a minute. Padlet is great. Google Slides is great. Google Docs is great. Jamboard is great. These are all great tools that would, if a group at the start of their project created a resource or a shared space where they could collaborate together. So giving kids to talk about and figure out what is our best anytime, anywhere connection plan, that's a great use of time at the start of a group project. And planning connection times, whether they're synchronous or asynchronous, is super helpful. So giving kids a chance to think through, what is our virtual meeting plan? Do we all want to use Zoom? Do we want to use Google Meet? Do we all have something like FaceTime that would be easiest for us? But just giving groups a chance to talk through that is really helpful. And this is just important in all group projects, having a time for shared goal setting and distribution of work. If this is done at the early phases of the project, everybody knows their role. So it alleviates some of the stress if we were to say, I don't know, have to say Friday afternoon, oh no, next Monday we're going to be remote for the next 2 weeks due to the pandemic. If they've already distributed that work, it's going to lighten the load and really ease the stress on the students and you as the teacher. So doing some of that shared goal setting and distributing work ahead of time will really pay dividends in the event that we ever have to transition. These resources are provided. There are 4 videos that go along with this, just some ideas for how you can use Jamboard, Google Docs, Google Slides, and Padlet to really collaborate and or brainstorm together. So as you look through those videos, you'll see essentially all of them are just a shared space where kids would have equal access to contribute, exchange ideas, and they can all be really helpful for setting up collaboration. As we think about group projects, we need to be able to meet virtually at any point in time. So making sure that your students are familiar with some strategies for how they would break out into groups during a large class meeting is really helpful. And both of these videos provided within this will share that with you. So we have strategies for facilitating breakout rooms using a combination of Google Meet and Google Docs. And we also have how to set up and facilitate breakout rooms using Zoom. So Zoom really automates the process. Google Meet, it's a little more manually done. Both work great, and whichever one you're more comfortable with could be awesome for setting up some group experiences in the event of shifting towards remote learning. Last thing, just to touch on, why is grouping so important? Well, these are the 4 attributes of personalized learning, and in all of them, there are some components to think about. So with social construction, we really want students to be able to build on one another's ideas. So often, especially during our first trial run at the end of the year last year with remote learning, a lot of the projects were independent. One of the biggest complaints and piece of feedback we got from kids is I miss my friends. I miss being able to talk to people. I miss hearing other people's voice. So that exchange of ideas in a group is huge. Giving kids a chance to co-create shared goals is really important as well. So that self-discovery piece, it's really hard to learn about yourself if you're learning in isolation, but I can learn about myself as a group member, as a human being, connecting and collaborating with others. So really important to give kids that opportunity for self-discovery to take place during group projects. And collaborative group experiences really open up unique opportunities for students to incorporate their strengths and interests into the school experience. So thinking about if my strength is really technology-based, a group project can bring that out and allow that to shine. So as you set up some of these group experiences, giving kids a chance to really lean in on their own strengths. Maybe I'm a great speaker. Maybe that's the piece of the project that I want to really shine with. But voice is also important. So all these things, these are just some tips to get you going. Please don't hesitate to set up groups. I know it's a scary time to be trying anything out of the box, but we got to remember half of our job as educators is prepare these kids for their future, and we definitely don't want them preparing for your future where they're just going to sit in isolation and not be a productive member of society. So thanks for watching. Please reach out if you have any questions.